Hi there. Welcome to Reykjavik, Iceland, for our chat with Sunna about Icelandic roots and database and the community about Icelandic roots. So we're going to talk about what is Icelandic roots, of course, a little bit later. But my name is Valur. I'm run a tour company here in Reykjavik called Your Friend in Reykjavik. And we do all kinds of experiences here, like food tours and folklore, and talk about beer and city walks and more. So yeah, when you're able to travel again, maybe check us out at Your Friend in Reykjavik. But welcome, Sunna.
Thank you for having us. It's great to be here. I've followed along with some of your live events and you do such a great job. So thanks.
Yeah. Takk fyrir. Þú talar smá íslensku, ekki satt?
Já, ég tala smá íslensku, bara ensku.
Så vi ætla bara að hafa þetta á íslensku, ekki satt?
Nei, ensku.
Just teasing. So yeah, so what is roots, Icelandic roots? What's that's all about? If we go back in time.
Back in time, well, way back in time, it was Icelandic Roots was just a place for me to play around with Icelandic genealogy and learning about my Icelandic family. And then it just blossomed into a blog where I traveled around Iceland giving presentations through the Icelandic National League and traveled throughout the land. And my presentation was called The Love of Iceland in America. And every single place that I went, people just cried. And they were just so taken by that we still do celebrations and have Icelandic cemeteries and honor the famous poets like Káll and Julius and Stefán G. Stephenson and talk about our Icelandic heritage and that we keep track. Mm-hmm. And so it just made me even more excited. And I've been involved with the Icelandic National Leagues in Iceland, Canada, and the US since 2010. Mm-hmm. And then in 2003, going way back, we started a genealogy center at August the Deuce, or the Deuce of August, or the 2nd of August. It's an Icelandic celebration that's ancient, one of the oldest Icelandic heritage celebration in the United States. And then Icelandingadagurinn is in Gimli, and it's the same weekend. So they celebrate on Monday, and we celebrate on Saturday. So we decided to have a genealogy center there.
So just to recap, in Canada they have the Icelandingadagurinn, which is celebrated on Monday, which we call here in Iceland Merchants Day here in Iceland, and then you have the August Deuce.
Yes.
Yeah, that's on Sunday or usually.
Saturday is our parade, and we have a heritage program, and presidents from Iceland, prime ministers, cabinet leaders, ambassadors. There's so many dignitaries that have come for this event, and busloads of people and individuals from Iceland come every year, except for last year, and probably not so much this year. But we still keep carrying it on through virtual last year and a little bit. We did have the parade last year and some things in person. But this year we'll do more in person, but also some live. And so, it just kind of, Icelandic Roots just kind of became little bit by little bit by little bit. And in 2013, it officially became a nonprofit where we offer services to people and have volunteers. And since then, it has grown so much. It's just incredible. It's not just the database. There's Samtal hour, like conversation hours with our members, private Facebook group for members. There's webinars for public, seminars, lots of information on our website that's free to the public. And it's just this big community. We have a podcast and YouTube and Vimeo and all these social media channels. So
cool. So just for those of you that maybe don't know why this is such a, well, quite a big thing is that so a lot of Icelanders moved from Iceland in the late 18th century, beginning of the 19th century. There were several reasons. One is overpopulation in Iceland. People were looking for farmland. All land in Iceland had been claimed at the time, and yeah, there was a famine going on in the late 18th century. Volcanic eruption, which caused some problems, of course, which has happened through history in Iceland. So there are several reasons, but yeah, several ships, a lot of ships went from Iceland, and the settlers settled in Canada and North America, and some even went to Brazil, to some warmer climate. So so the Icelandic Roots is kind of like trying to keep this connection between the West Icelanders, we call it the West Icelanders, and us here in Iceland. So I think it's a beautiful project, and this is a different thing than we have had a chat about Icelandingabók, which is an Icelandic database for people who have an Icelandic social security number, so they can trace back their ancestry. But part of the service that Icelandic Roots provides is this database where you can basically do a similar thing, but just with so much more detail. You have pictures and farm the ship registers of people that were going from Iceland to, so you know who were on the same boat, and so much more. So I see it's been a lot of work put into the database of so much extra info. But I just wanna say hi to Jahe, Susan, and Deirdre, and Tracy, and Christina, and Alice, and Peg, and Maxwell, and Julie. Just lovely to have you with us. We have about 60 plus people joining us today. So a little bit more about the roots. Should we show the system, or should we have a chat a little bit more about the service?
Yeah. So there is this database, and it is growing every day. We add about 2,300 people per month into the database, new people, and a lot of them are Western Icelanders, the descendants of those pioneers that came. That started in 1855, and through 1914 was a big immigration. But then World War II came, and all these Canadian and American soldiers were in Iceland, and you know what happens then? Some of the women came back with them to the United States and Canada. So we also have a huge immigration during that time. And then
I forgot about that. Of course, that's also a huge, must be a part of all the people that went with soldiers. At the time here in Iceland, just for you out there, at the time here in Reykjavik, there were about 50,000 people living in Reykjavik at the time, and I think there was the same amount of soldiers in Iceland in the Second World War. So 50,000 soldiers and 50,000 people. So that caused a lot of interesting things.
Yeah. Well, and even people in Iceland that say, my dad was a soldier, but we lost contact with them. We do try to help those people to get connected with their family here in the United States and Canada. And then also another thing that's really thrown a wrinkle into many people's lives is DNA testing. And so we get surprisingly, quite a few people who contact us and say, okay, none of my family comes back with Icelandic DNA, but I do. And so I'm connected to all these people, and we have had really great success connecting people with their families, and some awesome stories that, the fathers did know about their child. In 99% of the cases, the father has known that they were the father. And they have always been so happy to be connected that connected with their child. And so that's another cool thing. We don't store DNA evidence in our database, though. We can't have any medical information. And we have to be super careful about privacy because we have so many living people in the database, because like you, Valer, so we can look at your page and then you can show people that, and then you can, click that relationship calculator and see how you're related to me. And so go ahead.
So here is the front page of the Icelandic Roots page. And it basically tells you, discover your Icelandic family story, trace your ancestry to the Viking age, connect to cousins around the globe, invest in your heritage. And so if we check out my page, which I have access to the database, so I was just been for the last couple of days been browsing around, and there's a lot of things to check out there. We have these. We can talk about historical events. We can talk about famous people. We can, you can, if you're a little bit of a history nerd like me, you can spend a whole lot of time in this on this website. So here we have the front page of my site, right? Sunna.
Yep, that's you. Yep.
Yes.
And then if you click on that relationship tab,
check out the relationship tab.
Yeah. And then you're person number 1, so you don't have to do anything there. Nope. And then person number 2, instead of writing in that box, click on the find button, because you're actually going to find my ID number in the database. And then my last name is Olafson. OLAF. 1SON.
We are so used to double S here in Iceland.
I know. And then just click that calculate button, and there we are.
So we are on the perfect average, about 7 ancestors back. Then we're connected. That's the Icelandic average. I think it's.
About, and I just love that we're related to that Stefan Skaving. I just love that because he was such an interesting guy. And if you look, we have a lot of notes about him. And if you go down to the very bottom of his notes, you just scroll up by where his notes are. Yeah, scroll down there. And then it says, I can't quite read it, but it says, you have to print the chart to make sense of this family for sure, because it's a little bit confusing. But the way that Icelandic Roots has this software, it's state-of-the-art software, and we have 2 IT guys that work on it, I don't know, like way more than full time. Yeah. And they are just geniuses. They have one guy does mostly like security and keeping all the emails and the Google Drive and the this and the that, all of that safe and secure and working. And then the other IT person, although they work together, he is more focused on how can we do all these cool things on the left side of the page, where if you click those people and places and collections and documents, if you click all those yellow those yellow highlighted things on the side, you'll see that they open up into a whole bunch of other things that you can click on and see. And it's just incredible the amount of work that is going into it. And the best part is all of us are volunteers. No one gets paid.
Yeah, there are a lot of like teams. You have several teams that are working like inputting like this. For example, you have a parish registry from some church. So you have to scan that and put it in and put it in the right place. And there's a whole lot of work that goes into cataloging all this, right?
Yes, and if you click on the people, the yellow people thing there, that little tab, there's clergy. There's also known as, because a lot of Icelanders changed their name when they came, and there's clergy, and there's the Fjallkona with their photos, and a drowned report because so many Icelanders drowned. But look at all those beautiful Fjallkona photos. And if you click on their name, you can go to their page and learn more about them and see how they're connected. And it's wonderful. Yeah. And then we have a lot of
So just for those of you that don't know what the fjallkona is, it's like a honorary woman we celebrate our national day on 17th of June. And so that's like an honorary woman. The mountain lady is the direct translations of fjallkonan. How would you describe fjallkonan? What's her status?
Yeah, an honored person in the community that's chosen to lead the Icelandic Roots or the June 17th celebrations in Alberta or Seattle or wherever they choose fjallkonas. This one is a Seattle fjallkona.
One interesting, why August 2nd? Why was that chosen? Do you know why that date?
Yes, I know. So in 1874, the King of Denmark, which Iceland was under Danish rule at the time, in 1874, the King of Denmark had sent a message to Iceland saying, I want all the churches in the land to hold a service on August 2nd. And on that day, I will be giving Iceland this new document for, independence. And it was not perfect, document.
It was not maybe independent. It was in the constitution, like a set of rules just for Iceland.
Right. Yep. So, it was some independence. They got some independent things Iceland received at that time.
We get certain privileges.
Yes, right.
Let's settle on that.
If you go to the very top of the blue, on the left side on the blue, there's historical, right there.
Yeah.
And so we have pages and pages and pages of information about when things happened, different volcanoes that erupted, the populations of Iceland during the different years. And then it goes, to the current time, Gludny, of course, the eruption now, we even have that in there. So the population of Iceland, there's just a lot of things like when was the first C-section? When did the first car come to Iceland? And when you're on your ancestors page, there's a tab that you can look at to see what was happening during their lifetime. So if you're writing a book about Iceland and you want to know, or about your Icelandic ancestors, and you want to know what happened in 1835, what happened in 1850, you can, if you just click on your My page, click on your My page and then click on your, do you see where it says timeline there?
Yes.
So you can do that on everyone's page and see what happened during your lifetime. What are the major events that we have?
Yeah. But that's interesting because you're a writer yourself, right?
Well,
so this started because this is a very interesting. This is a little bit like you said, like a writer think. Okay, we're thinking I'm writing about certain events, what's happening on the same time. This is to save you time, right?
Yes. Well, I did write 2 books on my mother's family history, which is Norwegian and Scotch-Irish, and on my mother-in-law's side, which is Hungarian and French-Canadian. And so I completed those 2 books, and I was going to start my Icelandic book, and I've never been able to get it done because I've been stuck in the Icelandic roots vortex.
Okay. So it's not on the drawing board even?
Oh, there's a big pile sitting over here on my desk of things that need to be done. And there's about 10 books over there that I need to write.
Yeah. I understand this feeling. I have about 5 CDs that I'm still waiting for the right time to start working on properly.
Another really cool part about Icelandic Roots is called Cousins Across the Ocean. And every person who has a page will have something called My Cousins. And it's at the very top of the page. And underneath your My page, there's a My Cousins, and there's grandparents links, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents,
Mhm.
and it's really fun. And so you can, help us with the database by saying, hey, this person, was born at this place, or this person's actual birth date is this.
Mhm.
And so with genealogy, it's never done. And so we're always working on it to make it better. And every month, our genealogists touch about 10,000 records. But right now, there's about 730,000 people. So, and as we add and it just gets better and better with places, and the maps is really cool. If you click on your My page,
But you can also you're like you were talking about, getting ideas and corrections from people, so people can send you these notes, or send you we need to change this one, or add photos or something like that.
Yep.
So there's also a team doing that, updating the database based on people's wishes, or what they.
Right.
So where do you want me to go?
Go to your My page.
My page.
And then click on your Ancestor tab.
Ancestry tab.
Right underneath your photo, just to the right of your photo.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yep. And then I want you to, in the blue line, to click on up above the chart, click on the word map.
Map.
And it's going to create a map of where your ancestors lived. So if you have family that went to North America, you can find the maps in North America. If you're a North American person, or Brazil or England or Denmark, and you're looking for your family in Iceland, you can click on that and actually zoom in to find out where your family lived and what farms they lived on.
Mm-hmm. So I can click on the.
Yeah, and then it'll give you a big chart of where that is in Iceland, and you can do GPS coordinates to find it. It's the mapping is very cool. There's a specific team that does mapping for places and cemeteries, and it's also, we have something new coming with Sagas, and they're going to be connecting the Saga people, the Saga maps, and the Sagas in English and Icelandic, where English is available. So that's something new coming up soon. Okay. So there's a lot in the database.
So you're adding basically the Icelandic Sagas into the database, so you can really do a little bit of research and basically travel around the Saga places depending on the story.
Yeah, and then say that you're at Hofsos and you say, what sagas happened around here? You type in Hofsos and you click, the Saga button, and it'll show you all the locations right around Hofsos that you could go visit if you're in Iceland. Or say that you're in your computer in Gimli, and you think, I wonder what sagas happened around my family farm. So you type in your family farm and click go on the sagas, and you'll see what saga places are around your family farm. You can do it virtually from your computer. So
cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think that's a very, very nice feature. It's fun to, even though about much of the saga places, I think a working database which would help greatly in that matter. So I think that's a very cool feature.
Yeah, and then then you can say, oh, okay, well, how am I related to this saga character? And you can do the relationship calculator to figure out how you're related to all the saga characters. And there's books and histories and letters and documents, and it's so vast and varied. And yes, there's a lot of team members.
Like I said, it's this is like Alice in Wonderland. You can easily fall and get lost there.
Halfdan Helgason, who started this database back in, did this for his life and is on one of our teammates. He said that Icelandic Roots is like Disneyland. It's just so much that you could stay there forever and never get bored. And I kind of agree, which is kind of why I'm not getting my books written. But the genealogists and the team members for social media and genealogy and all the other teams live in Iceland, Canada, the US, and Australia. And we also have one person from Brazil that helps us too. And so it's very cool. Yeah. And so like,
is there a, are people using it from the west, south, and what should you look, West Icelanders in Brazil, and are there people looking for their ancestors from there?
Yes. Yep. Yes, there's people from all over: Japan, Norway, Denmark, Germany, Ireland, Iran. There's people from all over that have Icelandic DNA that are curious about their Icelandic ancestors. And so this is for...
How do they find your website? For example, a person in Japan, what kind of... Yeah, I understand when you're based in North America, this is probably focused in when you're celebrating like National Day or the Augustus or Icelandic Dagur or something. But maybe if you're in Japan, you don't have any connection like this. How do they find you? How do they know that you exist?
Well, Google searches, and our IT guys are on top of that to make sure that people can find us through the blog posts that we do, the podcasts. We have a YouTube channel. And so if people Google Iceland or Icelandic, then hopefully we'll be up near the top of their search.
So you're doing search engine optimization. If you're looking for Icelandic, Icelandic roots, then you probably pop up there. Oh, beautiful.
And the blog posts really help. And anybody can, that's a free service, the blog posts. The videos that are online and the podcasts, and then our regular social media. Like if you scroll down from our website, just IcelandicRoots.com, we got to talk about that fitness challenge. Back on that.
We'll skip. Yeah. We'll go into that. I was just putting Icelandic Roots here on the website. So sorry, where were we? What do you want?
So if you go to the regular website, the IcelandicRoots.com, and if you scroll down, then you'll see more information, and keep scrolling, and then our social media channels are down there. There is the podcast. There's how to subscribe to the blog, and then there's some blog posts, and then there's our social media channels. So. So you can see all of that from the regular page. And we do have a group, but it is limited to members only for the Facebook group page. So because we talk about living people and cousins and how we're related, and so we have to keep that private. And we do have very strict privacy rules. If you're not Icelandic, we can't let you have access to the database, and we do keep really good tabs on who's using it and what they're doing, so that everybody's information is safe.
So you need to. Do you need to prove that you have the Icelandic DNA to be able to access the database?
Yep, you have to be able to prove that you belong to our family. So this is like a family site. And we're all related somehow. And so if you contact me and say, well, we had this happen. My sister turned out her DNA as Icelandic and I want access to the database. No, the answer is no. The sister could, but not the non-Icelandic person. So it is very strict, and for good reason, so that we can have this Cousins Across the Ocean project, which is really so much fun.
Could you tell us more about that? All these kinds of other projects that you're running. I know that you're supporting, for example, the West Icelanders Center, or hofsos. What's it called? Sorry.
Yep, the Hofsos Immigration Center. So
immigration. Yeah. Sorry.
Yep. So we support hofsos and do genealogy for hofsos, and of course, the 20th anniversary of the center, and there's lots of great information there. And, if you can go to hofsos, they have awesome, you can see the story of the Brazil. If you go just down, the new land, new life, silent flashes, and then the prairies wide and free there's a North Dakota house, which I'm a North Dakota Icelander. And so whenever I go to hofsos, I like to volunteer in there and help give tours and tell people about the North Dakota story. And I can't wait to be there. I'll be there at the end of August and staying in hofsos for a week. And then we also support the East Iceland Immigration Center, which is at Vopnafjörður. And the director of the East Iceland Immigration Center, Kathy Josephson, is one of our genealogists and one of our leadership team people doing a lot of great work with genealogy and translations. And so, we have connections with those two. We also have helped with some old building renovations with Madam Vigdis's house, the Vigdis Hus.
Yeah, okay.
We've done donations to the Icelandic National Leagues in Canada, US, and Iceland. Most of our scholarships have gone to the Snorri programs, which are student exchanges for people ages 20 to 30 from the United States or Canada can apply to go to Iceland for 5 weeks and do a student exchange. And we are very generous with scholarships for young people. So if you know a young person of Icelandic ancestry, have them apply to the Snorri program, which is just snorri.is. And there's many programs on Snorri programs. There is the regular Snorri program that I just mentioned. And then there's Snorri West, which is young people coming to North America from Iceland, which we also support with scholarships and grants. And then there's a Snorri internship at hofsos, which we support. And then there's Snorri Plus. And that is for people over age 30. And you don't have to be Icelandic to attend. You can attend if you are not Icelandic. And so a lot of couples do this together, or siblings do it together, and they have a lot of fun with it. And Icelandic Roots provides free access to all the Snorri participants in all the programs, and so that they can look at their cousins and find their story in the database.
Yeah, it's something very cool. Just beautiful program. So do you want to talk about the fitness challenge?
Sure. So that's just something that in 2020, by the time May came along, I was like, everybody's just sitting at home because of this dumb COVID. We should do something fun. We should do something where we can get out and exercise and walk and get off of our computers for a little bit each day. And so I didn't really plan it very well. I just said, we're going to do this, and put up some information. And we had a wonderful time, and so many people joined. And it was a really great fundraiser for us. And we sent out tons of prizes, and people had fun with it. And so then this year we decided right away, last year we would do it again. And there's a dedicated person who lives in Colorado that's taken this over. And she found this mission, My Mission it's called, and set it all up, My Virtual Mission. And so you can do 2 or both, or however many you want. There's a Golden Circle route, and then there's a Ring Road route. And so anybody can do it. You don't have to be Icelandic. You can just join us on this fitness challenge. You can have a team if you'd like. And the Ring route is about 830 miles. So the challenge is 8 weeks long. So if you do the Ring Road, you might want to have a couple people help you out to be able to make it the whole way around, unless you're an avid bicyclist, I suppose, that does a lot of miles every day.
So, you send pictures along the way. So when you reach a certain mile point or milestone, you get pictures from that place, from where you're located, basically on the ring road.
Right. A picture and also like a story. So we have a lot of blog posts about famous places and famous people. And so when you get to a location, then a photo will pop up along with a little story about, okay, now you're at this location and this is why it's important. And so people can learn something while they're exercising. And the cost is $20 to join. And with that, you get these little, the workouts, and you just sign up on the app. And that includes the price of that app and all of the information that you get from it. And then we're going to have random drawings for prizes at the end. So it's not a race. So everybody has the same amount of chance to, if they're competing. I mean, if you sign up and you don't do any of the route, we probably won't pick those people. But
you probably won't be chosen as a worthy winner. But I think it's cool. So you're basically virtually traveling at home and traveling around Iceland, get some infos and pictures, and some fun with the community.
Yes, and my really good friend who lives in Iceland and is an avid knitter, actually she knit this for me, she said that knitting, there was a conversion chart for how much activity you did if you were knitting.
So you got it a Fitbit on each pin, or how did you manage to?
I don't know. But it was very funny, and I said, sure, whatever.
If you want to go at that length, you just have to say yes.
Yeah. And it's not like we're babysitting people to say, oh, you didn't go that far. I mean, if it's just an on your honor, and it's just for fun, and it's just a great event to get people to think about their fitness and their health and get me off my computer for a little while every day.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I've been been struggling with that, with doing what I had planned about fitness, and with the gyms closing up and starting again, and you eventually just fall off the wagon. And, so it's good to have some kind of a motivation, at least get some kind of because you're so easy on yourself usually, so it's good to have some kind of like rewards, like in this competition, like you get some pictures of info or something, so you have some kind of process or in progress. So I think it's cool.
And so the sign up, you can sign up already, and then we will my virtual mission will send an email when the mission gets started, which is, I think it's June 12th.
Yeah, June 12th, yeah.
Yeah. So then, at midnight on June 12th, or I don't know when they do it, June 11th, they'll send an email out to everybody that's registered and say, okay, your mission has started. And then you can keep track of your steps, your bike, your swim, your yoga class, your walking the dog, or your knitting, I guess.
Yeah. Is it connected? Do you know if it's connected to some kind of like a Strava or some kind of like these apps or yes, Google Fit or something of all these things?
Yep. All of them will work. I have an Apple Watch, which actually is the one that doesn't work. It's the least friendly with Apple Watches, which is unfortunate, but you can enter if you don't have a fitness watch, you can enter everything manually. Okay. And so at the end of the day, I see how many steps I've walked or, what I've done. And I did download the Strava app to my Apple phone. And then I can at least keep track of my actual workouts. And then I can do the steps. I can enter that manually if I can't figure it out. I haven't played with it enough to know, but all the other ones work awesomely. They work really good.
No problem. So cool. Anything that you want to add before we end up? Something that you would like to add to our chat?
Well, I just think if you are traveling to Iceland and you're going to go and have a tour with Valur, that before you go, if you're Icelandic, you should join Icelandic Roots so that you know where your family's from. And if at all possible, it is so powerful to go and stand at the farm where your family grew up and where your family left from. It is hard to explain exactly how powerful it is. So I encourage everybody to, join and find out where you're from and learn about your ancestors, because their story is incredible. And the Icelandic story is great. Yeah,
I can just imagine, if you think about from what kind of situations people came from, when they travel, why did they decide to travel, what kind of hardships they were encountering, and so I think you're completely right. It must be a powerful experience to really stand on the ground where your ancestors came from and where it all began, kind of.
Yeah, and if you can't travel, I think traveling there virtually by looking at the farm photos that we have from Mats Vibland, who's photographed almost every single Icelandic farm, and looking at the maps and looking at the relationships and the passenger list and the boats that they came on and the ports that they left from. We have all those photos, and figuring out, exactly, why were they separated from their families. And we are doing a women and children's stories, which is another project of ours, that if you have any woman that left Iceland, whether she was married or not, any children that left Iceland, and if you have a child that was left behind in Iceland, we want to hear those stories. So if you can send us a message, and it doesn't have to be a Nobel Prize winning author story. It can just be a couple sentences. It can be a big, long biography, letters that they wrote, whatever it is. We're putting together these women and children's stories.
Cool project.
Yeah.
We have some here comments, like from Diane here. I read a few times DNA can vary in siblings with percentage of ancestry. Not equally inherited the Icelandic. Yeah. But I have to agree, Diane, that's something that I think is pretty, I think DNA is pretty accurate revolving.
Yeah. It would be like 51% or 49%, 48, 52, that they get from each parent. They can get a little bit more from each, is what I've heard. I am not a DNA expert, so I'm not going to go down that road too far. We do have 2 people on the team that love the DNA search, and whenever there's a DNA person who contacts us, they take care of it. And so, between all of the team members, there's somebody specialized from each area. Oh yeah, you're Judy's 6th cousin. She is the person that runs the Samtal Hour, which is so popular. She has someone come on and talk for 10 minutes. And then for the rest of the time, the members just all discuss what that person was talking about, whether it's midwives or places or, immigration or whatever it is. Yeah.
So samtal for you English speaking there, samtal is basically a discussion or people talking to each other. So it's a samtal.
Yeah.
Cool. Don't think we have any questions, guys. Do you have any questions out there for Sunna or me? I see Eric is waiting for his bike and hiking path.
Yeah.
That will happen, Eric, when travel eventually, recovers, maybe 3 years. I think that will be on the list. There are many people that are talking about this because it's very hazardous right now. When people are biking along the ring road, they're just on the yeah, it can be tricky because the roads in Iceland are not very wide, so yeah, it can be tricky to go past them, and especially when cars are meeting. Elsa is saying, hi, being half Icelandic, can I join Icelandic Roots? And yes, that's...
I am half Icelandic. That's lots. So we have some of our volunteers that we have one volunteer for Icelandic Roots that is not Icelandic at all, but his wife is half, and he's the genealogist. So he is the one that actually works with us on the database. So, we do have that exception once in a while. And then there are lots of people that are like 1/16 Icelandic, but it's so cool to be Icelandic that even if you're a little bit, you want to make sure that you can get connected. So we want to keep track. So if you don't want to join Icelandic Roots, but you want to make sure your information is preserved in the database, go to our website and then fill in a cousins across the ocean form. And you only have to go back to, your great-grandparents and your immigrating ancestor if you live in North America, because we have all the rest of the people. And so it's important that we get everyone connected and stay connected. So send us a cousins form.
Rachel is asking, where was the place you mentioned in North Dakota? What I'm not sure what place she's referring to.
Probably August the Deuce of August. So the website is the Deuce, DEUCE.org. And there's a website for that. There's a Facebook page, August the Deuce or Deuce of August. It's called the two back and forth, or the 2nd of August. And it's in northeast North Dakota in Pembina County. And it's only a few miles from where I grew up. And Mountain, North Dakota is the name of the city.
Okay. I hear my boys are getting rowdy in the background. I think I need to start. But here is the site. I just published the Deuce, Icelandic Communities Association of Northeast North Dakota. Northeast North Dakota. That's a tongue twister. So yeah, hope people enjoyed it. I see Beverly is asking, can Valor's company assist in arranging tours based on family history in the future? Anything is possible. Just depends on when and how, and we are always looking to accommodate and trying to help if we can. And so yeah, why not? So takk fyrir í dag, Sunna.
Takk fyrir, sömuleiðis.
Segjum bless við fólkið og bara takk fyrir okkur.